Welcome to the AUANews Inside Tract podcast, an official podcast of the American Urological Association. Thanks for listening. For more episodes of this podcast, visit www.auanet.org/podcast.
Welcome to AUA News Inside Tract. I'm Dr. Gabriela Gonzalez.
And I'm Margaret Dearey.
We're excited to be part of the conversation highlighting the AUA's Future Urology Program, an initiative focused on building the next generation of urologists and expanding access to mentorship and opportunity.
Dr. Gonzalez and I recently connected through this program during AUA2026 in Washington, D.C., where I'm a medical student. I'm currently a fourth-year med student at GW. And today we're going to be sharing what the experience was like from both the mentor and mentee perspective.
So, Margaret, what initially drew you to the Future Urology Program and to attending the AUA?
Yeah, so I kind of found urology later in my medical school journey. So I kind of stumbled across it in my beginning of my third year, which to me felt a little late at the time. So I was kind of looking for opportunities that might connect me more with the community. And the first thing I actually found was the AUA's Advocacy Summit that was in DC. And since I live here, I went to that first and got introduced to the Future program through that because I had seen that there were some events, and from there I applied to the Future program online, and then that's what kind of led me to meeting you at AUA. So what kind of got you, okay, we're going to scrap that. What made you want to get involved as a mentor?
Yeah, great questions. Multifactorial. I did work in the Health Advancement and Impact Committee, kind of spearheading the Future program, so that was part of it. But additionally, when I was a medical student, this wasn't really around, and even at the beginning of my residency, it wasn't quite available for students. So I think I saw kind of the opportunity to get involved in something that I think I would have participated in as a student that I kind of would have wished was there. And really to increase the diversity of people in the field of urology. And it's so easy to do. I mean, you're already there at the meeting. You get to catch up with old friends, meet new colleagues. So it seemed like an exciting opportunity to get involved.
Absolutely. And from my perspective, it was awesome even to get to meet the other mentees, right? I think something I didn't even think about at first was that there were going to be so many other folks coming who didn't know anyone, didn't know much about AUA in general. And I think that it created a really wonderful environment for all of us. How do you feel like this year went with the Future programming? Was there anything that really stood out to you as kind of one of your favorite things?
I've been participating in the Future program ever since its inception a few years ago. So I've been involved with it since it first started and kind of seen it grown. There's always students that are wanting to add on beyond maybe what the capacity that can kind of be handled. But it's that the growth, the continued enthusiasm of students and mentors alike, and the AUA that supports this initiative. I mean, this year in particular, also the panel, right, that was created for students to ask more questions and kind of give them different facets of urology. So I think that's something that students had asked for before in surveys. And so that also shows that the AUA and the committee is spearheading this or responsive to kind of the feedback of both the mentees and the mentors. But it's always that enthusiasm, that desire to continue learning, networking, and you always find new things to learn from students as well, right? Even though I'm sort of done with training, just meeting, interacting with students and the questions that you all ask, keep us on our toes as well.
Yeah, it was cool to see how kind of everyone was learning throughout the process. And I know you mentioned the panel. The panel was probably one of my favorite things also, to get some more insight into kind of the different careers that folks can have going into urology, especially coming from, medical schools where we're largely exposed to academic urologists. It was cool to see folks from rural environments and more community programs and just different specialties within urology that I hadn't had exposure to before. So I think the panel was definitely a highlight for me as well.
Right. I think it's you thinking about different topics that go beyond training that are kind of important. And maybe, as I kind of mentioned to you when we met, that maybe I didn't even consider during and after training, but I kind of figured out as I was going along. And this was your first AUA, correct? Your first AUA meeting?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So what was it like attending this time, and do you think it was different doing so through the program? What are your
Y-
thoughts?
Yeah, I think for going to AUA for the first time, it can kind of be a little bit overwhelming, especially
Mm.
because it's huge and the conference center is huge and there's so much to do. And I think having the future program as kind of a Kickstarter and kind of having a little bit of connection to someone who had been there before, kind of knows the ropes, made the experience so much less daunting for me. Um, my first day at AUA was kind of our event for the future program, which
Mhm.
was wonderful because then going forward in the days, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I was able to kind of navigate it with more confidence and have a better idea of kind of how to
Right.
approach a conference of that size, as a lone medical student going.
Right, and I think we kind of discussed that, when we met, kind of made the conference feel a little bit smaller. I think we learned how to navigate, the conference together. We're like, "Where is this room?" Or, "Where can we find this session?" Great. So how did, connecting with mentors shape your experience at the meeting?
Yeah, so I think it not only kind of helped logistically and kind of getting over that, but it created some connections that I probably would have never had otherwise.
Mhm.
Even beyond just, the wonderful time you and I got to spend together, I also got to meet a bunch of other mentors that were kind of all in this networking space. And that's created different avenues. I've downloaded the Cooper app, I believe it's called. It's the new
Mhm.
platform where we can kind of connect with folks who are also in the program and kind of seek advice for whatever stage we are in going forward. And that's been wonderful. And I think I wouldn't have learned about all of those things without being at the program and at the AUA in the first place. And then I think you had briefly mentioned earlier that, you didn't have something like this when you were starting out.
Mm.
Why do you think that maybe like early exposure to urology is so important for students?
Well, first, like you mentioned, this program helped facilitate the meeting, which I think is hard to navigate on your own. So I think having that even make the space more accessible, make you feel more confident and going up to people, introducing yourself. I think it aids you in that as a student. And before, I think you just had to kind of do it if you wanted to, or you had been just meet someone, a potential mentor or networking through the sessions, maybe at a poster session, right? So I do think that there is a skill in that, right? Learning how to be comfortable just approaching people. But for some students, I think that can be a little bit daunting early on. So I think that was what's meaningful in this opportunity is to mentorship and kind of help teach that skill to students, but also help expose them to other facets of urology besides clinical practice or besides the topics that are presented in the sessions that you learn through networking, talking to company representatives, or just uh, casually introducing you to their colleagues and friends or prior co-residents. So I think that there's a lot a benefit in that. And then also getting to impart knowledge that maybe otherwise you wouldn't have known, right? Like you asked me about sub-I recommendations, kind of things that you could do to stand out, or kind of how maybe when I did sub-Is a while ago, I would carry my typical day. We talked a little about sub-I presentations as well, or ultimately what we thought maybe was important in training and in choosing kind of residency programs, kind of the match process and mystifying that a little bit. So even being able to discuss topics beyond uh, the urologic kind of scientific programming that the meeting focuses on, but discussing other topics that are more relevant and perhaps more important for students like yourself at your stage where you're applying to urology kind of in the trenches of sub internships and trying to figure out that process, and also trying to figure out what's important for you when making your match list, or what ultimately matters and where you end up training and how to make the best of it.
Absolutely. And I think kind of those candid conversations we're able to have and that like the mentor mentee relationship kind of
Mhm.
creates these conversations that we wouldn't otherwise be able to have that really do have a great impact on kind of our our path and kind of these decisions that we're making along the journey that you are now nearly finished with schooling wise.
Mm-hmm.
And then do you feel like you have any advice for folks who might want to become mentors in the future? Anything that kind of maybe advice that another mentor had given you in the past, or something that kind of helps with creating the relationship, sustaining the relationship?
I would say, I've had a good mentor of mine, Dr. Jennifer Anger, tell me to make yourself really available. And if you're going to commit to something, whether that's a project, offering support, let's say in clinic or anything like that, really following through. But I would say follow through is very important, especially for research, which is, I think, important, or was important at the time of when I was applying in urology. And I think it's also, if you show up, you're committed, it lends itself to more opportunities, expanding your mentorship network. They can connect you with other colleagues, can collaborate, and then ultimately also serve as mentors for other students.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that was a big takeaway for me of kind of this experience, is that you, as a mentee, you can learn how to be a mentor, right? And you can kind of hopefully in the future be able to do that for other folks as well.
Mm-hmm. And then do you think this experience changed or sort of solidified your interest in pursuing urology? Did it make you more excited, a little nervous, a combination maybe?
Yeah, probably a combination, but most definitely excited. It definitely solidified my interest. I'm 100% applying to the urology match this year, and I think the AUA and the future program really, really helped solidify that decision.
And then what would you say to students that are thinking about applying to the program? Maybe say a little bit of how you found out about the program, kind of the process for you to sign up, or kind of any tips you might have.
Yeah, so I think do it. Apply. That you really have nothing to lose is my first advice. It's very you take from it whatever you want to take from it. It's kind of an experience that I think can be as little involvement as you want or as much involvement as you want. I found out, as I said before, through the advocacy summit, but you also can just go to the AUA's website, and through the future program, there's ways to sign up, get through the email lists, and then I know that the AUA Future Program is often doing programming through their annual conference. So I know the AUA 2026 just happened, but I'm sure for 2027 there will be a future program as well.
Mhm. Yes, that's right. So definitely, I would encourage both mentees and mentors to sign up. It's a great experience. We're always looking for the help from the mentor side, and eager to help any students who may be interested. Thank you for listening to the AUA's News Inside Tract. We'll hope you'll join us soon.
This has been an AUA News Inside Tract podcast. Thanks for listening. For more episodes of this podcast, visit www.auanet.org/podcast.